I have been a big fan of Insta360 for a while now. I have the Insta360 ONE X, and I also have the Insta360 EVO, which is a 360 camera and stereo 180. I have a project coming up that I think either of these would be okay for, but I think what's in this box is going to be even better. So stick around and we'll check it out. I have a long-term project coming up whenever we're allowed back out of the house again, which is going to last for the next couple of years, and I'm going to be documenting the restoration of an Edwardian pool that's been sort of mostly derelict for the last couple of decades, and they've got a grant and they're doing it up, and it's going to be a lot of fun to sort of follow the journey of them rebuilding this pool and the building and bringing it back to its former glory. I wanted something that was a bit lighter than, you know, walking around with a DSLR to document things, especially in some of the areas where it's not exactly safe. I'd rather have something a bit lightweight on the end of a pole that I can just shove through a doorway rather than trying to walk in with a DSLR and fall through the floor. So let's have a look at what's inside the box. We have the invisible selfie stick. I've got a couple of these now. The bullet time handle. The Insta360 ONE R Twin Edition with a 32 gig SanDisk Extreme strap to the back. Let me pull this off. Comes with a core unit, which is your screen, a dual lens 360 mod, a 4K wide angle mod, a battery case, a mounting bracket, a lens cap, and a charging cable, and it's compatible with Android and iOS. It's waterproof to 5 meters. It supports the same flow state stabilization as the ONE X and the EVO, which is awesome. It has an auto frame and edit function, which I think is just for the 360. It's got voice control. I don't know how useful that's going to be. I don't know how reliable it's going to be. We'll have a play and test at some point. It does 8 times slow motion, HDR, photo and video, and night shot. Right, let's open this up. So, inside here, oh, that's cute. That's the ONE R. This is the base module and the 4K camera, and then we've got the 5.7K 360 camera, and then we've got the battery module. And in here, we have other stuff. In here, we have it's Type-C. We have a Type-C USB cable, and we have the case, a quick start guide, ONE R's waterproofing, what to know, and we have our warranty. Oh, and we have a little Insta360 lens cloth, and a couple of Insta360 stickers. We'll get rid of that, and we'll get rid of that. So in here we have the battery module, the 5.7K 360 camera, the base, and the 4K camera. So it's been a while since I've actually used action cameras for anything. I actually ended up getting let me go back. Before I started using real 360 cameras like the Insta360, I had the Yi 360 VR. Before that, I had half a dozen Yi HD action cameras, and I would put these in a 3D printed rig, and then it was like this whole horrible stitching process that I had to go through. I haven't even powered these on in probably 2 years now. Mostly because I've got actual 360 cameras right now, but partly because the workflow for it is just a pain. Since I got 360 cameras, I haven't really had any other kind of need for an action camera until now. Before I go any further with this, there's one thing that I want to look at right now, just to get it out of the way so I don't accidentally damage the 360 module. Inside this little bag, yes, we're doing this first, there is this, which is a rubber lens protector for the 360 module, so I'm going to stick that on, and I don't have to worry about scratching the lenses while we talk about the camera itself. So this is the base module, and on the front there's not much. There's like a little, what's probably a little microphone opening so that, you know, people in front of the camera can talk, and then on the back we've got the little touchscreen LCD, and then connected to it we've got the 4K wide angle module, which is a 16.4mm equivalent. But one of the really cool things about this, which we'll talk more about in a little bit, is that this disconnects, and then you can flip it around that way so that you can have the screen and the camera on the same side, so you can record yourself and see yourself at the same time. And then this is the battery. This is the whole battery module, which is really, really cool. I like that it's a whole self-contained little unit that sort of forms to become part of the body, and it just clamps right on the bottom here. That's it. Oh, hey, we have power. So it's automatically come on when I plug the battery in. And the screens come up saying Insta360 version 1.0.7. I'm going to grab the other camera so I can record the screen so you can see what I'm seeing. I'll be right back. So this is going to get a little bit awkward because I don't have a lot of room here. I'm going to move these out of the way. All right, so we have the camera here. Is something going to happen when I touch it? No, because it was asking me what language I wanted. Ah, there we go. So we are choosing English. Insta360 ONE R. Install the ONE R app and connect to the camera to activate. So I've already got the app installed on the OnePlus 7 Pro. So let me unlock that. Right, let me get all these notifications out of the way. Start the screen recording and then load up the app. Welcome to the Insta360 ONE R app. Agree. But what happens? Right, connect via Wi-Fi, connect now. Allow the one, yes. Well, it's detected the ONE R. I'm seeing the network at the top, so we'll connect to that and see what happens. The first connection must be confirmed on the camera. So, connect to the phone, connect the camera to the phone, confirm. And we are connecting. This is one of the very earliest production models that got packaged up, ready to be shipped out, but firmware updates have come out since then, so we'll go ahead and update the firmware now. Right, so I am going to find a battery so I can plug this into charge while the firmware's downloading. One of the things I really, really like about this camera over both of these is that the Insta360 ONE R finally has Type-C USB. Both of those have micro USB, and ultimately, it doesn't really matter, but Type-C is just a much more substantial and durable connection than micro USB. So what we are going to do is we're going to pop that in there, and then we'll plug the other end into the battery. And that way, while we're doing the firmware updates, this isn't going to die. Connect camera to update firmware, and we'll go connect again. Please copy the Wi-Fi password of the camera. Go to phone set. What? Connect. Right, update the firmware. Connect camera to update firmware. Connect to the camera. Oh, did it do it? Is it going to connect? I don't understand why it's not connecting to the camera. I'm back in the app. Why can't it connect? The Wi-Fi just will not connect for some reason. Connect the camera to update. I'm connected to the camera. What is the problem? Yes, stay connected. Is that it? I just had to tell it to stay connected. Oh, there we go. It's doing it. It's uploading the... When you connect the Wi-Fi on your phone to the camera for the first time, you have to tap the option to tell your phone to stay connected. You might not have that issue with iOS and some other Android phones, but on this one, yeah, you have to tell it to stay connected to the network or it'll disconnect because there's no internet connection. All right, well, it's uploading the firmware now. 99, done. Well, nearly done. Waiting for camera to complete update. During the camera update, the touchscreen will be off and the indicator light will be blue. The upgrade will last about a minute and the camera will automatically restart after the upgrade. Please reconnect the camera after restart. Oh, that was less than a minute. Now it's telling us to connect. Now we'll connect to the camera. Activate ONE R. Confirm. Activated. Confirmed. So there we go. We've upgraded our firmware from 1.07 to 1.1.16. Oh wow, that load time's really, really quick. It's so quick it doesn't even show the Insta360 logo and a version anymore. Boom, you're straight in. Holy crap. Right, so let me start from a cold start. Right, so it's completely off. And then we'll count how long it takes from pushing the button to actually being ready to shoot. 0, 1, 2, 3. Wow, like 3 and a bit seconds. That's pretty cool. on the back on the touch screen. If I bring this up, if we swipe down, we get our different settings, and we got page 1, page 2, and we can go in here and, you know, change our brightness for the LCD. And we can, we can temporarily disable the touchscreen. So we got a little swipe unlock. You can actually connect Apple AirPods to this. I don't have AirPods. I've got the OnePlus Bullet Wireless. I don't think it will connect to those. I think it's specifically going to be looking for AirPods, but let's try it and see what happens. Right, so now we are looking for a Bluetooth device. So let's try this again. Start search. So I don't think it's going to find these. I think this is going to be a very Apple specific thing. But the whole point of the AirPod compatibility with this is so that you can actually use the microphone in them to record the audio to your camera rather than relying on the built-in microphone, which is actually pretty awesome. Oh, that turns off the front and rear status indicators. Grid lines, so we can display a grid in the preview overlay. Oh, that sets the screen rotation. So it will automatically rotate your screen if you want to shoot horizontal or vertical video. Oh, this is for the voice command. I'm not messing with that right now. And then we've just got our general settings. So general, where you can set your USB mode, your disk mode, your prompt sounds, and your various other things. You can set up a Bluetooth remote, which I don't have. Your SD card, you can format it, which we're going to do now because we've just put it in. Video encoding, we can do H.264 or H.265, which means that for the same file sizes when we're shooting 360 footage, this can get better quality than this because this is only H.264. Video file format, we've got INSV, and this will actually save out to MP4 now as well, which it's good and it's bad. It's good because it means that it's accessible to more editing applications straight out of the camera, but it does also mean that if you need to do anything to it in post, like your flow state stabilization, whatever the camera does is what's baked into the MP4. So once it's done, you're kind of, that's it. Your options are limited. So now we'll go up. These are our different shooting modes. So we've got standard stills. Whoops, standard video. That seems really twitchy. So like if I just scroll up, it seems to kind of skip video. Oh, there we go. We got video. If we go that way, we're looking through the gallery, but we haven't actually shot any. If we go that way, we can change, we can go manual. We can change our shutter speeds. So if we're shooting at, oh wow, that's a bit dark. There we go, 1/120th. ISO 800 because we're shooting at 60 frames per second, so we can do 1/120th, and we can change our auto white balance to daylight. I'm going to turn this off, and then we're going to disconnect the base. We're going to pull this out. You can see here how it's got 2 connectors on the base and then 1 on this, but we can just flip this over, plug that back in, and now this will clip into here. Okay, so now if we turn this on, it's going to point back at me and you're going to see me, and you're going to see yourself because the camera's going to be on screen as well. Hello, there we are. So this is one of the really cool things that I quite like about the One R, as opposed to most other action cameras, is that you can actually see yourself. You don't have to flip a screen up or flip it out. You know, if you just want to vlog, you can stick this on the end of a stick and you're good to go. The problem is underneath here there's no 1/4-20 socket. In order to be able to mount it to anything, we need to put it in this, which is a little frame. This actually comes with the Insta360 ONE R, and it works like, well, essentially like an underwater housing, except there's no cover bit because it doesn't need it, because this can handle up to 5 meters underwater. Essentially you open up the top, this goes in the back like this, and then that closes up, latches onto the back, and then so that is now in its little enclosure. We still get access to the stuff on the side. If we need to charge up the battery, we get access to the buttons on the top, and we can see ourselves. But now we have a standard GoPro mount underneath. And then if we plug that in there and stick that through the hole, now we have a 1/4-20 socket underneath, which means that we can mount this onto whatever we want. We can just screw this onto the end, and now we can point that way, and we can turn it on, and hi, we can talk to the camera, and we can vlog, and we don't need to worry about gimbals because we've got flow state and all is well with the world. But the problem you've got here is that you're basically dealing with just the internal microphone, and I think the internal microphone is on the back side here now. One thing you can't do with the One X or the Evo is add an external microphone, but with the One R, there's a dedicated microphone adapter. And there's also a replacement cage for it, which has an accessory shoe. So you can mount something like a hot shoe microphone like the Rode Video Micro. So let's open this up and open that. And so here you can see now we have it in the new enclosure. And like I said, the only difference between this one and this one is that this has a cold shoe on top so that we can mount our microphone in like this. I am curious if this is actually going to appear in the shot, so let's power this up. And it's just appearing in the shot. I might have to see if I can get like some kind of little riser. The other thing we're going to do is get the microphone adapter out. Now the microphone adapter, the only sockets you've got on the camera itself are, well, socket, you've got one. You've got the Type-C socket. So this basically plugs into the Type-C socket and then has a 3.5mm jack on the other end. So if I do this and pop that open, this can plug in there. So this is kind of the setup that I want to be walking around documenting some of the baths with. Possibly not always with this camera, because let me dismantle this. First and foremost, this is kind of an action camera. Like it's designed to sort of compete with the GoPro. And if the quality's as good as it's been with Insta360 cameras in the past, then I think it can do that quite comfortably. But one of the advantages of this, if we disconnect the battery, is that we have this whole other camera module. And this one has two lenses, one on the front and one on the back. One of the cool things about this, I will show more of this in another video, but you can actually touch and spin around your view with the 360 camera. Now, one of the things you need to be aware of with the 360 camera module, and this is a pretty common mistake I see a lot of people doing with the One X and other cameras as well. They think, especially with this one, because it's an action camera, you want to have it pointed like this, which you generally don't. With a 360 camera, if you want the selfie stick to not show in the frame, you need to have the camera parallel to the stick, because this is a 360 camera. That means it sees all around itself, so it can still see me at this angle. I can still frame up for me in post, but it's not going to see the handle in the shot. And one of the great things about it is that even when this is inside the little enclosure here, I can still stick this on and protect the lenses, which is very, very handy. So I think this is going to be mostly it for the One R now. There's not really much more to explore in this box, but I do want to go over some of my first thoughts. The Wi-Fi is fine as long as you remember on your phone to tell it to stay connected to the network, even though it doesn't give internet access. Otherwise, your app's just not going to connect to the device. The touchscreen's kind of sensitive. That's going to take some getting used to. I love that I can swap different camera modules, so I can go shoot some, you know, regular flat 4K footage if I want to, but I can also go 360 without having to carry a separate camera like this one or this one, although I probably will take the Evo around with me, to be fair, just because stereo 180. But that's, you know, kind of how I'm going to be documenting some of the baths, is just walking around with the camera, having it pointing away from me as well as towards me in different times, with the microphone on top so that I can actually speak and narrate as I'm walking through the place. I will be doing some coverage with regular cameras as well, but some of it I want to do with this, and I'm thinking I'll have my wireless lav setup because I've got 2 transmitters for it. So if I'm walking around with someone else and they're guiding me around the place, I can have one microphone on me and one microphone on the other person. And one thing I am curious about is whether this records stereo audio, because if it does, then that means I can have myself on one channel, the other person on the other channel, and then I can worry about the audio levels later in post. One thing I didn't spot on here was an audio setting, so hopefully I don't have to deal with auto gain the whole time. I'm gonna have to do a little bit more deeper diving into the menu and see if it offers any kind of manual gain control. Hopefully it will. If not, hopefully this is something that Insta360 might be able to add in a future firmware. But for now, I think that's going to be it for the Insta360 ONE R, and we'll see how tomorrow's tests go. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on the newest content on the Insta360 ONE R and everything else that I do on here. If you have any questions about the Insta360 ONE R, or if there's any tests you want me to specifically do with this, let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.